All right, welcome back to another week of FetchQuest. It feels like a long time, but quarantine. All right, Chris, you said you wanted to catch us up, right?
You say that every time, and it's always a no. Hold on, I just gotta fix the freaking thing because it moved around. Okay. Last time, we came home to Moroth. We all went our separate ways when we first got back and started doing a couple things. The three other people other than me got sucked into a dinner party rather quickly because that was happening at the same time. I found out that it was definitely not something good that I invited into my home, which I knew from the start, but I did it anyways. And I told James to do a bunch of stuff for me, and then I headed to the dinner party, and that's where we're at.
Fantastic. So everyone's inside, enjoying their very, very formal meal. Think mainly chicken with a soup appetizer. That was the most formal thing I could think of while writing this out. Um, but yeah, so everyone's eating their chicken. There's some discussion going on between the between Kara and Damokos' parents. Um, it just seems to be about idle things when Kara's dad at Zahn and says, "Oh, the invitation was for your parents. Are they okay? I haven't seen them in quite a bit."
They've been hard at work, busy with all the things. Moroth has its political systems that do keep us from, being in the limelight for too often.
Right. It is odd, though, that they'd miss a dinner invitation.
Oh, it's not that odd. They haven't gone to many in a long time, and I have been away on many different trips recently. And how I am taking over in their stead, at least showing good faith in our social interactions.
So you're taking over for the family, is that it?
No. I'm just being the liaison for the time being. For they are busy and away from any dangers. I am their figurehead in their place at the moment.
Interesting. He's gonna kind of look at Zahn for a moment, almost as if he's like weighing him in his head, and then goes back to like start speaking to his wife. Anything anyone wants to bring up at the most awkward dinner ever?
I literally feel like that Jesse Pinkman gif. I just showed up and everybody's family's here and they're all obviously like passive aggressive towards each other.
This chicken is phenomenally cooked. My compliments to the chef.
Yes, we had to have them replaced recently. It's nice to see that this chef is exceeding where the other one was falling short.
Oh. Well, congratulations on the wonderful new talent hired.
Yes, we'll see how long this one lasts. So, tell me about yourself. Where are you from?
I am originally hail from Kel.
Oh,
Hmm.
you're from Kel. Damokos' dad is going to kind of shoot a look at Damokos and then back at Franziska. Interesting.
Yes. I have not been home in some time, however. Work often keeps me moving from place to place.
And where do you work?
Currently, my employ is to bodyguard, I suppose, your son, your daughter, and the young Masveric heir during their trip to the north.
So you'll be assisting my son with any tasks he has coming up, at least until you leave his employ. Is that correct?
Should he deem me as necessary for his tasks, or any of the others for that matter, I would be more than happy to lend my assistance.
Interesting. It's good to see that he is thinking about his future and hiring, I assume, a suitable bodyguard to help assist him. Much like the Masverics, you have a golem. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And what's his name?
It's James.
Jack? James. Yes. How long has he been with your family now?
Oh, longer than I have been born, as far as I'm aware.
Right. We don't see much of James now either.
He's very busy as well. While I'm off doing things, he's tending to most of the things in the homestead, while my parents are very busy with all the company work that they need to be done.
Right. Right, the company work, of course. That does tend to take up quite a bit of one's time.
Correct. They are working on an almost national scale now.
Can you throw a deception check for me?
Sure. I'm going to use my channel divinity. Roll 20. Any day now.
You got a 6.
It's not one for me.
Oh yeah, first one.
And a
roll.
15.
First roll was a
Oh,
6.
okay, there it goes. Well, then that's
So-
11.
So, Adamicus' dad kind of nods, looking at you for a moment. Yes, I can imagine the nationwide business could take up quite a deal of time, especially if they were to miss this dinner, of course.
Of course.
They are well, aren't they? We not having heard from our friends, do worry.
Of course. You know in this town if anyone has gone ill or has had anything ill will come to their way, you would know about it by now.
Yes.
Of course.
News does travel rather quickly. And speaking of, I believe you came with a caravan that was coming from up north.
We had some assisted transportation, yes.
If I may ask, which caravan did you hire?
It wasn't one from around here, it was from the country up north.
Yes, the country up north. I noticed that it stopped quite outside of the city gates.
Yes. They didn't plan to stay, only to assist us in our travels home, and then they wished to either survey the land a bit, maybe plan their own visit here, or then go back.
It is odd, though, that the cart wouldn't at least drop you off at the gate.
I don't find it very odd. They didn't want to come into the town. They aren't accustomed to our customs, and they were worried about being viewed differently from being from a different country. Tends to happen, especially with a country such as ours.
Yes. Unfortunately, we are not the most welcoming of foreigners at times. Damikos, Which company was this?
It's not necessarily a well-known company down in these parts. It's
Never matter. Any company name. I simply wish to look into the company that transported my son, make sure that my kin is being taken care of.
if I'm to be honest, they gave no company name. It's more that we had a gracious enough host to allow us passage.
A gracious host. Interesting. Now, did this host allow you to stay the entire time you were up north, or did you merely meet them on the way back?
If I may ask, why the interrogation? Do you not trust your son to make good choices?
I'm simply curious as to where my son has been. He did disappear with no word, and he's come back. I'm merely making sure that he's being safe.
I can assure you he's safe.
How wonderful.
He is.
The guarantee of a Masveric.
Of course.
If
Yes.
I may just say, your son has proven quite capable and dependable on his journeys.
Of course. He's a Grey Castle.
And when I say that, I'm going to look over to Damokos and I'm going to give him some inspiration.
What dice is that, just so I know?
Let me pull up my. I think it's a D10, but let me just make sure.
Okay. I'm just going to kind of acknowledge Francesca with that remark.
It's a D10.
Cool.
Of course, the Grey Castles are always capable. Simply wondering where my family has gone. That's not a crime, now is it? Of course, with all these different rules that have been passed over one another, who's to tell what really is a crime and what isn't?
Not a crime at all. You'll be happy to know that it was an individual whom we had several interactions with and would be the equivalent of what you would consider a lord.
Another noble house from up north?
Yes, I don't have many details on him or their family. They tend to be rather secretive, I'm sure you understand.
Of course. Everyone does like to keep a few things hidden. No use in playing all your cards at once. So, did you all have a good trip up north? See the sights, as it were?
I was
So
on
no.
more of a diplomatic mission, if you could call it, anyways. We were meeting a few people and shaking a few hands and making good relations with the people up north.
Of course. Helping your family spread their national-wide business.
Of course.
So, are there any plans for an expansion into another country?
Not yet, but in due time. We have to get more settled into our situation, perhaps promote a few underlings to more prominent positions so that my parents could have more time.
Of course, and I do believe I speak for both families at the table when I say that you can consider us allies in this. If you need our help spreading the Masveric name, you simply need to reach out.
Insight check.
Go ahead.
That's a 30.
Yeah, he first I'm gonna tell you this. He's definitely suspicious of your family.
I already knew that. It wouldn't have mattered if I rolled real high on that deception. He would have known that.
It's more
It's
often.
been- How many years has it technically been since they went missing?
It's been a while, but like that can be written off as like, oh, they're abroad, or oh, they are working on the business, because there are families that do kind of nose to the grindstone, do end up disappearing for years at a time trying to build themselves up. So that's kind of like a normal thing. He is offering help, but that help comes with, you can feel the fine print of this help in the words that he's saying. This would essentially be, he definitely has some ulterior motives.
Figured. Well, I will graciously accept help if you plan to offer it. It only depends on what you want in return.
Of course, perhaps after this dinner we should retire and discuss some plans for an expansion.
Of course.
Now, it would help, of course, to how are things up north?
Well, how aware are you of the country above the country up north?
I've heard some things. Small things, more rumors.
I want to insight check that.
Go ahead.
I also want to do that.
Anyone who wants to throw an insight check can.
Man, it's taking so long to update for some reason.
I don't know what's going on with it.
Son, you got another crit 25 on your insight.
Oh, okay.
Holy
It's
shit.
30.
I got a 19. Kara got a nat 20, 21. And Francesca got a 19 as well.
So you fucking all beat the DC. Gabriel Greycastle is very familiar with the country up north.
Well, they are. Well, are they familiar with the country up north or the one above that, the Drows?
He seems to be more referring to the Fallen Keep.
Okay.
It's unclear as to whether he means the Drow.
Can I tell with that insight check if he understands what happened recently?
So it does seem to be a legitimate question. You get the feeling that any messengers that he had when shit went down were either trapped inside the castle or would be arriving at around the same time as y'all. So it could very well be that he just hasn't had time to meet up with those messengers and is legitimately asking for information. So it doesn't seem like he fully knows what the situation is.
All right. And then also Divine Sense.
Sure. Hold on 1 second.
Oh, and you gotta find the exact words.
God damn it. Okay, so you are getting a you can smell the undeath coming from Kara's brother.
Not his dad? Not from Damikos' dad?
No, not from Damikos' dad.
Or his brother?
Well, my brother's not there.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought your one brother was there. All right.
My sister and mom are also there.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
fuck.
there's also the smell of the same. It's not as overt as the as overt as the. No, it's about the same smell of undeath that's coming from Kara, and it's also coming from Damakos' sister.
All right. That makes things really weird. Can I use that insight check on them too? Like, how are they reacting to this whole conversation?
So with that fucking 30, Damakos' sister is making a small conversation with Kara's mom, but she does seem to be listening more to your conversation. And while Kara's brother is seemingly more focused on his drink, he is definitely eavesdropping and paying attention to what you're about to say.
Does it look like they know, or do they look like they are very genuinely curious?
They're genuinely curious.
All right. Oh, fuck. Hold on, I have to think about this for a second. I can swing real hard here and make them fucking stumble, or I can play it real safe. Can't do anything wrong. All right.
I can feel a lot of panic coming from behind the players.
Yep. Not me. No, I'm not panicked at all.
In the Twitch chat: which brother is it? Is it Vedrick or Casimir?
It's
Casimir.
Cass. Vedrick isn't here.
Yeah.
Can't do anything wrong. All right. Swinging for the fences. All right. Well, if I'm to be honest, they are very worried that they are about to be invaded and have decided upon a plan that may be very reckless.
Interesting. And what plan is this?
Well, they plan to empower themselves in a way, though I don't think it will work out the way they think it will. It's a very dark ritual, as far as I have heard. One that, if we had the power, we would have stopped. But we were not in the good graces of the Lord up there.
Damakos' dad looks like he's about to say something when Kara's father kind of picks up his glass and says in sort of like a stage whisper, like he's pretending to whisper but really wants everyone to hear. He goes, well, we've all had our experiences with rituals gone bad, haven't we? And Damakos' dad shoots him a look and then looks back.
How are the undead twins doing?
They at that 30, they look shaken and like a little bit shaken, a little bit surprised. But they still obviously want to know more, but they don't want to be too overt about it.
All right.
When you say it is interesting, which parts of the business are you planning on bringing to the poor people up there? I mean, if we had more power here, we could send a regiment of soldiers to help defend against the invasion.
As far as I'm aware, a single regiment will not be enough.
Oh, interesting.
Some sort of super weapon, they say they have.
And did you see the super weapon?
No, but I have heard rumors from at least when I was up there of entire villages going flattened. Nothing left in the wake.
So wait, did you say the vampires had already? Sorry, misspoke.
Oh, yeah. Did he actually say vampires?
No, that was me misspeaking. Gabriel says, interesting. So they already released their super weapon, and it's been causing villages to disappear?
Well, no, not as far as I'm aware. It's the, and I mean the country Null of the country Null that has a super weapon that are invading them.
I'm sorry, when you say of north, you wouldn't possibly mean Venterra.
As far as they are aware, that's what they mean.
Interesting. Well, I do apologize, but, as your parents might very well attest to, business never seems to rest. You will join us at a later time, and we will discuss this a little bit further, but for right now, I'm afraid I must retire. And he looks at Domikos and says, see me in the study after dinner. But for the rest of you, have a wonderful night. He stands up, gives a small bow, and heads out. And then Kara's dad, also like a few moments after he leaves, sits down his cup and goes, well, dinner has been very lovely, but I think it's about time that we went home as well. Kara, are you coming with?
Yes, I will be coming with.
Fantastic. Well, we'll wait downstairs then.
While all this is going on, I do want to test something that Damokos has been wondering about.
Sure.
He obviously knows, because he previously tried to do a telepathic message link with his dad, and that didn't work.
Right.
He's gonna try it in turn with his mom and his sister, just to see if there's a similar wall blocking.
Sure. So, when you get to your mom, are you just trying to that's telepathic communication, right? Are you trying to read her mind?
Yeah, I'm just you know how when someone else is talking, you can anticipate the word that's being said and copy that word?
Sure.
Yeah, that's basically what I'm doing, so it doesn't seem like something fishy. It's just they're hearing that word again, but at the same time.
Yeah, sure. You managed to connect with both of them. There's no immediate wall
Okay.
that comes up preventing telepathic communication.
Okay. Good to know.
Cool. So, Kara's family gets up and leaves, and the Grey Castles also get up and start to head out. There's Damokos, you know that the servants are waiting for everyone to leave the room before they can come in and start cleaning up.
Yep.
When I get up after everybody, I'm literally pulling Kara by the arm behind her family and whispering in her ear, your brother and sister are vampires.
My sister's not here.
No,
Wait,
it's
who was
Damokos' sister.
Oh.
Grey Castle.
Yeah.
By the way,
Okay.
can I smell that
And
they're
So,
undead?
fun fact, you can't. It's not like you can smell all other undead.
They don't smell like Falamir, though.
They do not smell like Falamir. It's just that. So, answering a question today, I told you guys we'd answer a question. Vampires tend to. They have a scent when they're fresh born, like reborn into vampires, just like babies. But their scent really starts to grow as they get older and more involved with certain pursuits. Like Falamir has taken a very scholarly role, so he smells of old books and libraries, whereas other vampires who've taken, I don't know, like warfare would smell more like bloodlust and carnage. They do not have a defined scent that you would be able to pick up on.
But they're probably aware that I smell like baby.
I'm not at liberty to confirm nor deny that.
This was not a question I wanted answered. And you know it.
Question I wanted answered.
And you know it.
By
I
the
know
way,
you know it.
Oh,
um,
who's taking Francisca, by the way? Who the fuck is she gonna stay
I'm,
there?
point, I'm
well-
gonna point a finger to cast message real fast as
Sure.
a Zon passes by. I'm just gonna use message to be like incredibly smooth, Vasveric. Quite impressive.
Can't,
Yeah,
I,
thanks.
I can't
As I
handle
finish off
her.
the wine, polish off my wines, go up, and I assume that there are going to be servants who will take me to whatever constitutes quarters.
Sure. So actually, as you get up and start to head out, you feel familiar, sort of like itching in the back of your head, and you feel Falamir's voice start to whisper to you, and he's going to say this.
Yeah, I'm gonna make sure to, usher everyone at least out of the dining room so the servants can go to work.
Okay.
Well, I am doing the whole telling Kara thing.
At least my dad's not a vampire. He just doesn't fucking eat like a normal person.
He's not a vampire, he's a zombie. He's a revenant.
Cool. So, excellent. So everyone's being ushered out of the room by Domikos. The families have gone, sort of disappeared in the castle. You can hear Car's family heading downstairs. As Domikos like kind of ushers the last few out of the room, the door shut behind you, and you can hear this. It's the more perceptive of you, which I think, once again, is only Jovin's character. Can hear the soft sounds of footsteps. And chairs being very carefully moved as if the servants are trying to make themselves not be heard at all. It's a weird fucking house, man. It's not a good place to be a servant. I can't stress this enough.
House gives me the creeps.
But yeah, are there servants that will escort Francisca to her quarters?
So they will, but did you just want to retire to your quarters immediately, or did you want to, like, what's everyone in the group doing right now?
Imagine we're kind of huddled as our own group right outside the dining room doors.
Yeah.
Right.
That works.
At the moment. Well, I did not know that multiple families would be at that dinner.
Quite surprising.
Is anybody listening into us?
Make a perception check.
Can I make one as well?
Absolutely.
Oh wait, no, that's performance.
Wow.
Even better.
So,
All of us.
I didn't.
Domikos, you know that there's always servants around.
Mhm.
Someone's always listening. But when you guys look around, you are now each hearing the servants very silently, like picking up the heavy wooden chairs and moving them back, very silently collecting the dishes. Domikos, you know that whenever they do collect the dishes, they put like a cloth on top of one dish, put another dish on top of it, cloth, so that they don't clatter together, because you know that loud noises are not prohibited, but not looked upon very kindly in your household. but there is the shuffling of servants behind that door, and there is one of the tapestries right next to the dining room that usually does signify a hallway to the servants. So there may be a servant standing behind there, but you cannot detect anyone actively like listening to you right now. And that goes across the board.
Then I will, just in hushed whispers, your brother and your sister are both vampires.
Wait. Persephone?
Yes.
Oh, Jesus.
I want to say I'm surprised, but somehow I'm not. But at the same time, how the fuck?
I'm more surprised my dad wasn't in that.
I was as well.
Oh, yeah,
It changed
me
a lot of
too.
the things I was trying to do.
Is it some kind of popular trend here in Morath for you people to become?
No. No, not at all.
Francisca, why would I want to be a vampire?
Well, I know you, but two people, two different families?
Why would anybody want to be a vampire?
I just want to cut in here, Francisca. You also do know that from just being around the Vampire Society, Kara is the first new vampire in a very long time, or at least the first one that's
Yeah.
been known.
You're a very special case in particular, Kara. In case you do not know.
Oh no, I know.
Speaking of which, I would like to let you know that you have a doctor's appointment tomorrow or tonight.
Literally? like,
You know,
He
to
means
conduct-
you're supposed to meet with our friend.
I wouldn't consider him a doctor.
Well, he is.
He is quite an accomplished doctor, believe me.
He wanted to give me fangs before I had them
Well,
from someone else's mouth.
we're getting off
That's what-
topic here. We're getting off topic here. Go see him
wondered about
tonight. We need to split up here or we're going to start looking suspicious. So
Yes, I am.
that's all I wish to tell you all because that seemed important.
Thank you, Zan.
You're welcome. Okay, I'm
Where is
leaving
he?
now. I just walk away.
Well, Zahn heading home.
Yep.
Fantastic. Zahn's heading home.
Have a good evening, Ms. Vanek. I'll give a small bow as he leaves.
Yeah. He's done with all the pageantry bullshit.
So Zahn heads home.
Is he just parked outside the gates? Or.
As far as I know, they have not moved camp.
Okay. I have to go get Noodle.
If you would like some company, I would not mind escorting you.
That would probably. Yeah. I'll have to tell my parents I'll just join them at home in a bit.
Okay. Shall we be off?
Let's get
Francesca,
out of this crazy
where are you
house.
planning on spending your evening at the caravan or here? If here, I just need to make sure.
I would have preferred to stay indoors somewhere, but it is a little bit of a intense atmosphere at the moment.
Yes.
Perhaps I can find some room in the Uday estate.
I have an entire house to myself. It should be fine. Let's get this over with.
And I'll depart where Gar departs.
I'm gonna go get Noodle. Have my parents already like left and gone?
Well, they seem to be like kind of they're off Grey Castle grounds, but they are kind of like huddled up, just waiting.
Polymorph is probably worn off at this point, huh?
Yeah, you can hear panicked horses.
I'm gonna go get him, polymorph him back into a was about to say a gray castle. That's not correct. A fucking
Greyhound.
yeah, that
All right.
bitch.
So,
sorry. I'm having a hard time.
Okay, cool. So you transform him into a greyhound, and wait, Great Dane, I think it was
Great
last
Dane.
time.
Okay.
Yeah,
Back into a Great Dane.
yeah, it says Great Dane.
Okey-dokey.
Cool. So you transform him into a Great Dane and lead him off.
You can find wherever my parents are with both a giant dog and Francesca.
I make sure
behind.
to collect my cape on the way out.
Cool. It's like when you're walking towards the door, when you look up at the door, one moment you can see like coat rack, like iron hooks hanging by the door. And when you look up, it's not there. You look back at Kara, and then you look over, and your cloak is hanging on the iron hook.
I hate this house.
Way to take my cape
So creepy.
and put it back. It's like,
It's
just
like
out
having-
loud.
It's like having ghosts, but it's real people.
Out loud, I'm just gonna be like, much appreciated, and I'm gonna actually leave a silver underneath where the iron hooks are
Cool.
before leaving.
Sure. All right. So, you each go outside, and Kara, as you approach your family, they kind of look down at the dog and then look back at you, like not surprised at all that you're just have a dog now.
Maybe 4 months. leave me alone. I have something to attend to really quick, and then I'll be home. Francesca's gonna walk me.
All right. Well, I thought she was Damokos' bodyguard. It's nice of him to lend out his bodyguard to you.
She's a group companion. Not in that way, Papa. Don't even start.
I
Things
don't
are-
understand lifestyles that are newer. But yes, we'll see you at home. Be safe. And they're going to head off.
If I look at Cass, is Cass looking at me?
Cass actually is looking at Franziska. And then he kind of, when he sees you looking at him, gives you kind of like a half wave, and then heads off with the family.
I give a grin and just like as
Oh
well.
God. Okay. Let's go before it gets too late.
He's quite charming.
Don't. Please do not. Please. What?
You know,
It
I
is
just
fine.
told
I
him
don't
that
wanna-
he's a vampire. Let's just
I
start
wanna
romancing the vampire boy.
He's much too young for my taste.
Oh God.
He goes for upper
You don't
800.
know that.
How
Yeah,
old
you know.
are you?
All right.
let's go.
So y'all are headed up there. After a short time, you do reach Falamir's caravan. You do see you don't, at first sight, Kara, you don't see the Johnnies kind of posted around. You just kind of walk up onto the caravan. But Franziska, having traveled with him before and, having a good perception, you do see that there are Johnnies that are disguised and like made to look like trees, like they're camouflaged around the campsite.
That's cute.
Keeping undead skeletal guards camouflaged.
Well, like, usually they're just out and fucking about. I do consider that maybe they'd camouflage them sometimes.
Yeah. And so you proceed on to up to Falamir's caravan and enter inside where he is sitting, and he is reading in his chair.
You called?
Yes. I do apologize, but I consider it rude to communicate without permission. So, just wondering, would I have the ability to communicate um, without actually speaking? And the range of this is quite far, so I was wondering if it would be all right if we spoke in that way.
Tomikos does that all the time. That's perfectly fine.
Excellent. All right, so I feel that it is important for you to know the path we walk. There are certain rules that must be followed. First, we try not to kill victims when we're drinking. Um, sounds good to me. Yeah. Franziska has left at this point and is standing outside.
Okay.
We try not to kill when drinking, simply because if you kill a resource, then how are you going to get more of that resource? It's much simpler to keep someone alive. Um, we do try not to drink from those who are unwilling, but when you're starving and you need food, you must drink. In the end, I do hate to say it like this, but we are two vampires after all. In the end, they are cattle. And it's going to sound weird. I know it is. But eventually you will overcome your more unnecessary attachments. You can still form attachments to people and friendships and such, but it will never be as no, that's wrong because you can still think of it as a friendship with a cat. You could be close friends with this cat, but if push comes to shove, if it comes to a matter of survival, well, I every also this isn't really a vampire thing, but you'll find that you'll have a certain every way I'm trying to phrase this is wrong. A certain lifestyle that the people live before you feed on them will be more alluring. You can taste someone's lifestyle in their blood. Um, I happen to prefer the taste of other scholars myself. You can taste the knowledge, but to each their own. Did you have any questions about?
How long do you go without having to smell? Or
I'm afraid I don't quite
because
understand.
I'm I'm fairly new,
Right.
but someone like you have a very distinctive scent, but
Right.
not all vampires have that.
No, each vampire has their own distinct scent. Um, to someone who's as new to this as you are, whose nose is now more powerful than it was in life, the scents can be overwhelming. They can all run together, but eventually you'll get to the point where you can detect someone's walking in the room just from their scent alone. You said there were vampires without a scent.
Like, I may have just come home to another member of my family being a vampire or other form of undead, but he
Hmm.
doesn't smell like anything. It's like sniffing a piece of paper. It's been out too long. There's nothing there.
Well, um, It could very well be, if the other person was a vampire, it could very well be that your nose simply, there was too much to smell, so it kind of shut down, almost. Or I'm afraid this is uncharted territory for us all, but every vampire does have their own distinct scent. Um, which family did you say you were from again?
I am an old day.
An old day, right? Well, I'm sure it doesn't matter if there were vampires here. Custom would require that we introduce ourselves, but as far as I'm aware, no vampires claim to this as their land in a very, very long time, at least not directly. So we wouldn't necessarily. And all the vampires that would have laid claim are back at the Fallen Keep.
What if there are two of them?
Two vampires. Oh,
A
that would be
member of Damokos' family as well?
Damokos, the Grey Castles, right?
Yes.
Right. Well, when it comes down to that, it's odd because you are, as far as I'm aware, the only vampire to have been created in a very long time. Uh, I would. My resources are quite extensive, and I've not heard of any vampires in here. But if there are two vampires, then they are likely uninstructed in the way, and it would be most likely to our advantage if they were unaware that I was here. So, have you drunk yet?
I assumed we were drinking the entire trip. Because otherwise, like out of character, I assumed
No,
we
I don't. I don't mean from the stored blood. What I mean is, have you had fresh?
No. And I'm a little apprehensive.
I understand. I will tell you that while stored blood is usable and it does keep us alive, there's nothing quite like it fresh. But don't worry, you can use my stores for the time being until you gather the materials to start creating your own. But you will need to cross that roadblock soon, and it's better to do so when you're relaxed, because if you're agitated when you have your first taste of the real thing, it could lead to an incident, and we wouldn't want that.
No.
But so, and speaking of vampires, I'm going to assume that the vampire god, whatever he's calling himself, is going to be slaughtering everyone in the Fallen Keep. And I feel that I'm safe to assume that.
He did open his mouth in a way that I've never seen anyone open their mouth before and kind of sucks the literal life out of a couple people when we first saw him. So
Yes, we mustn't tread on those details. What I'm saying is we are going to need to. You are the first person to have it spread to you by a bite in a very long time. So, what I'm thinking is you may be able to spread the gift to others. So, it is. As you are the last vampire who can do so, presumably, it falls under your responsibility to help us grow.
not considered that yet.
Now, if you are anything like the vampires that there are legends of, then as you grow and as you spread the gift to more places, you may find yourself becoming more and more powerful, stronger, and more connected to your vampiric side.
Is that a bad thing?
It depends on how you look at it. If you wish to associate yourself with the people, if you wish to associate yourself with people, then it may be that getting more in touch with the vampiric side of your blood now may be a hindrance. But if you wish to grow stronger, to put more strength into this world to protect what you deem as necessary, then this may very well be a path that you have to go down. So, no pressure. I'm just saying that I'm assuming that our race is extinct, almost extinct. So it may be easier while I investigate these two vampires to consider what I've said. And then he picks up the book, opens it back up to the page he left it out on, and starts reading again.
I'll nod. I will keep it in consideration. Good night.
Oh, good night.
Go back out, rejoin Francesca.
So, how did it go?
So much to think about. Anyway, let's get going before my parents think I got murdered again.
Again.
Moroth has a lot of assassins. This is not. This would not be the first time anyone has ever tried to kill me.
Understandable.
All right. So, you two head back, and we're going to hop on over to Domikos. Cool. So, Domikos, everyone else is leaving. Get off. Stop licking my knee. Everyone else is leaving. Where are you going?
Up towards, I should say, my father's study.
Sure. So, when you do approach, the door is cracked open a bit, and you can hear the sort of shuffling of papers. Your father is behind his desk.
I am going to enter.
He does have a rather large book open that he seems to be like kind of skimming through with his left hand, and he's writing down just kind of notes in the margins, and also writing stuff down on sheets of paper next to it. And he looks up, puts down the quill, takes up the paper, puts it inside the book, shuts the book. Yes, Domikos, welcome home.
Thank you, Father.
So, what's the plan?
Well, interesting you say that, as there's a new player.
This super weapon that they have.
No, there's a new player going for the throne.
Interesting. I'm assuming, since that you haven't had any contact with the city, the player is a member in your group. And since the old days would never take a stand like that, it has to be either Zahn or friend or whatever her name is.
Francesca. It is not Francesca.
Interesting.
Zahn was quite vocal about it. The conversation one day as we were traveling back.
This may not immediately seem like a benefit. In fact, it may seem more like a hindrance or even a wall that we must pass through. But keep this in mind. People like Zahn tend to only see one path to a solution, where people like us can see multiples. And even if people like Zahn or like some members of his family, even if they can see alternate paths, there are lines that they will not cross. It may do you very well to let your friend think he is in control and then take it from him.
Believe me, Zahn was one of the ones who was also vocal about aiding me on your request for me and my pursuits in this matter.
Well,
And him being rather vocal about it has also, let's just say, it's good to know where people stand.
it is. But Zahn also has the look of someone who may be a bit more devious. If he feels comfortable enough to announce in front of you a person who I presume knows, a person who I presume has told him that he has been requested to reach for the throne, then he does not see you as a threat. This is good. Play
If
that
I'm-
part. Play the part. The loyal friend. If anything, perhaps stop if you perhaps give in to his request a little bit more. Make him feel a little bit more comfortable with his power so that if anything, he feels comfortable enough to show you his weak spot. And that's when you strike.
Indeed.
So, Any other updates?
You could say that while I've been on the road, things have changed for me a little bit.
What do you mean?
Well, I've just been unlocking knowledge, tapping into arcane elements.
Good. You must get stronger. Strength is the only way forward in this world. After all, a weak person cannot protect their brother, can they? Have you heard word of what's happening in the South?
I have not had much contact, although when I last heard from my brother, he had been doing well in his classes.
Yes. Well, he should be
Well,
doing. He should be doing well, and he should be safe for the time being. But there are matters that do not currently concern you happening. We'll go into detail at a much later time. Of course, after the transition is complete. But I may need you to go down and collect him just for safekeeping.
I think that be fine, although a longer trip, especially considering I think the play for the throne will be rather quick.
It should be.
Especially the Masverics also.
Speaking of the Masverics, you've been to their estate. Have you seen them?
I'm pausing. I'm trying to remember back to that episode.
Yeah,
If
no
I
worries.
don't think I did see them.
Nobody has.
Yep.
Tara was the only one who was interested, and she never got around to it.
Oh, I still am interested. Don't worry about it.
I have been to their estate, and suffice to say, I did not see them.
Well, you know what they say. Well, desperation does tend to make one act in a more unrestrained manner. So if there were a situation in which Zon felt like he had nothing left to lose, that may turn to be in our benefit. And he is going to open up a drawer, take out a small vial about this big, and inside is a purple liquid with some bubbles floating around inside of it, and he's going to put it on his desk within reach of you. So, just keep in mind that the heir to the last only heir to a family tends to be a bit of a precarious position for someone to be in, and in a place like Moroth, it's not the best way to keep your head. So, if something were to happen, and he were suddenly all alone, that may turn the tables to quite a bit in our favor. It may push him to act a bit more recklessly.
Do I recognize that liquid at all?
Throw me a nature check.
Do I still have the inspiration dice?
How long does inspiration last?
1 hour, I believe.
Yeah, you're coming up. You're coming up on that.
No, roll 20. Let's go. So 16.
So, this is a poison, but you're not sure what kind.
Seems you're playing another card.
Well, Domikos, if you do not think that you are strong enough to make the sacrifices necessary for this family, then perhaps your brother might be.
Funny that you say that. As I've begun having cards myself.
Well, I'd expect nothing less from a Grey Castle. You may leave. Don't forget your tool. And he's going to open up the tome, pull out the papers, and start making more marks and reading through the book.
It was nice to see Mom and Persephone at the dinner. I hadn't seen them in a while.
Yes, I believe they've retired for the night. You'll be able to speak to them tomorrow morning. Oh, is your companion going to be staying the night? Should we prepare separate rooms, or?
I did find out that she is not spending the night.
Good. You don't need any distractions. You may leave.
I'm gonna pick up the poison, and pocket it carefully. I'm gonna head to the door. I'm surprised you didn't immediately ask me about more of the issues up north.
Well, Domikos, if you must know, I will be questioning you on that at a later time. I wish for you to focus on my words at this moment. Leave.
I will exit the room.
Cool. So you exit, carefully shutting the door behind you. Where are you going now?
It's obviously like what time of night right now?
The sun is definitely set. It's getting a little bit past there, so it's around 7:30, 8 o'clock.
Cool. I am going to head towards my room, but I'm going to be taking a longer route that gives me time to think about things, but also will take me past like where my siblings' rooms are.
Sure. So all the doors are shut. It's not a leave a door open household. It's every door is shut unless you're currently going through it, as expected. So all the doors are shut. You do see that there is um, just some small light flickering from underneath your sister's room. No light flickering from either of your brother's rooms. But yeah, just headed on the path to your room. And are you making a stop, or are you just going to keep going?
I'm going to knock on Persephone's door.
There's a moment, and then you hear Persephone go, "Come in."
I open the door.
So she's sitting in bed, like covers up, and she has a book open, and she's been obviously reading with the like lamp next to her, giving off the light to let her read. Tamakos, what are you doing?
Just wanted to say it was nice to see you after a long while of having not seen you around this house.
It was nice seeing you again. It's been so much traveling.
Yes. I trust your travels went well, though.
Oh yes, it's really just mother taking me out to see. I don't know, the land, other small towns, just experiencing life outside. I know that's a bit restricted for you, um, and I do apologize for that. But travels are travels.
I mean, I've been traveling as well.
Yes, I heard. How was your trip?
Up north, it was eventful, and when I came up from down south after taking my brother down there, it was, well, also eventful in some cases. Suffice to say, I've learned more about natures of the arcane being out in the world.
Well, that's good, but I'm still curious why you didn't want to go to the school with Teddy.
Some I had the personal feeling that Eddie needed the instruction the most.
Yeah. Poor sweet Teddy. He didn't really fit in with his family.
The irony in that being that you're talking to the non-human of the family.
Well, yes, but you think like father.
No point. Or he's trying to get me to think like him.
Well, yes. One sec. cat is trying to destroy everything of wire around me. Well, yes, but it's only because he sees so much of himself in you. And really, he does just want the best for the family.
I know that. That's why I'm doing all I can.
Well, I do appreciate it. And I do love talking to you, but I'm almost done with this chapter, and I'm going to bed right after I finish it. Could we talk tomorrow?
Of course.
Perfect. Then I'll see you tomorrow, Domikos.
Yep. And before I leave, I am going to, as I'm closing the door, I'm just going to send a mental message to her. Just
Okay.
ask a simple question. Do they know your secret? And I'm going to shut the door.
Okay, cool. Shut the door. Heading back to your room?
Mhm.
Perfect. Zon, did you want to do anything?
No, not unless there was something for me once I got back.
Not especially, no. You do know you throw an insight check for me.
Sure. Check how long my channel divinity lasts. No, it's only 10 minutes. Never mind.
Yeah, no, everything looks fine. You get home. James welcomes you, and then where do you want to go from here?
To bed, I guess. There's
Cool.
nothing left.
So everyone goes to sleep. Everyone except for Domikos. You each dream that you're sitting in the square near the university in Moroth. And you're seeing the wide just houses and manors that are around you, the city walls in the back. And that's when there's sort of a creeping darkness. And it starts to spread up and over the walls. It seems to grow larger and larger, almost like a wave flowing over the walls. The people that it touches disappear. It cuts through homes like a hot knife through butter, leaving behind nothing. It seems to devour the very land around it. In fact, the walls themselves are being broken down as this wave of shadow rushes over them. And moment after moment, a pair of red eyes flick open in this darkness until it is about 30 feet away from you. There's 7 pairs of eyes, and each of those eyes rushes out towards you, and you each wake up. Domikos, you have a nice, fitful sleep. No nightmares, no worries. Best sleep you've had in a while, actually. Cool. And I know it's a bit of a shorter session tonight, but I think that's where we're going to end. We'll go ahead and have a special episode next time, which I'll go into more detail after the cut. Thank you guys so much for staying with us this week, for watching. We can't wait to see you guys next week. Guys, can't wait to see y'all next week, where we'll have a fun special episode. Thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe to our Twitch, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to our YouTube, and follow us on Twitch. Anybody got anything they want to promote?
Don't
Grim
forget
Hollow
to
has
vote.
Yep.
That's right. Fucking vote.
Mhm.
Jesus. And wear your goddamn mask.
Grim Hollow has a player's guide coming out. It's
Oh,
very
that
good.
too.
Go
Yeah, Grim
support it.
Hollow has.
It has
Yeah,
the
we
creator and entertainers providing content.
use the Grim Hollow vampire guidelines and nothing else from there about any other player. So don't even worry about it. All right. Well, we'll see y'all next week. Have a wonderful day. Stay safe, and see you later.